Hi, and welcome back again. We are on the second segment of the Speedwell sling bag. And in this segment, we're going to work on the rectangle ring strap. We're going to sew together the adjustable strap and put the hardware on. We're also going to do the top tab and install half of the hardware for it. So that's going to take us through a fair amount. I have kind of a few extra little things in there that I think you might be interested in. So it's not too long of a segment, but I am going to try and break it down into smaller pieces and stuff again. So this is how far we're going to get in this segment. So I guess thanks again for joining me. I appreciate your support, and you guys have been awesome to me. I do appreciate it. So let's keep going, and this project is going to be a lot of fun. So the machine that I'm using, I'm going to be using my FAF Creative 3.0. It does have an embroidery attachment to it. So I have a really great selection. I have been collecting Hemingworth. That's the brand of thread that I've been using. It's a 40 weight polyester thread, but I have I have a beautiful stash of all kinds of colors, and I tell you, it really comes in handy. So, but again, because I have my embroidery machine, that's why I have so many colors. So, yeah, I just thought I'd show you my little stash here. So I promised you that I was going to do all of the sewing on this bag using nothing but my domestic machine, that I wasn't going to use my industrial machine at all. Now the downside for me is that I can't have my nice decorative or thicker top stitching. Or can I? Well, yes I can, because what I'm doing is I'm using a method where you do 2 top threads. This is different than a double needle. All I've done is I have my regular position for my thread right here, and then I've wound another bobbin of the same color and just attached it. There's probably on your machines there's a second thread holder that's in there. It might be folded down. This one originally is folded down into here. So just lifted that up and have about a half a bobbin. There's not tons and tons of top stitching, so it's not like I need a full bobbin of thread for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking both threads, one from each side. So I've got, hopefully you can see this, I have 2 threads here, but I need to thread my machine all at the same time. So I'm going to use the regular way that I do it through the whole thing, only I'm holding 2 threads. And just move you there. Okay. And into my needle as well. Make sure that I have both of them through. And there we go. Okay, Sherry asked me to be a little bit more specific sometimes with things like the little details. So what I'm doing is I've switched my needle out to a top stitching needle. And a top stitching needle, these are the ones that I buy. It's 100/16. So the 100 is a heavier needle, but it also has a larger eye in it. Sometimes if you're having problems with your thread breaking, go to a larger needle. If you've got a little bit heavier of a thread, that definitely will help. Well, I guess I shouldn't say necessarily that a larger needle will help if your thread is breaking, but if the problem is that it's your thread is too heavy for your needle, then obviously that's going to help. So I have 2 threads coming through 1 needle. Now I want to make sure before I go to all of the work, and I did do this already, I've got a little bit of a sample here, but I wanted to make sure that before I wound my bobbins and did everything for getting ready to do this, that it's going to work. So what I did was I took a layer of Peltex and I wrapped some vinyl around it. So I'm putting my machine through a little bit of a test. I want to make sure that I'm going to be happy with the way it works. So I've got 2 layers of vinyl and I've got a layer of Peltex. So I would just want to see, am I even gonna like what I'm working with? Now, in my testing, and I'll do this over again, but I lengthened my stitch length. You can see here that I've got a smaller stitch length, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem to stand out as much as when you go to a larger one. So I played around with that a little bit too. Don't go directly to your project and start messing around there. Do some testing. Make sure you get what you want. So the first one, now normal stitch length on my machine is 2.5. This one, the little one here is 3. And the larger one, the one that I prefer, is 3.5. So all I did was just how I would normally sew. And I don't have to go fast, just let my machine give it a chance to go through this stuff. And again, I'm going to lower it down to 3 and just see, just for comparison's sake. So I just did a few stitches at 3. So this is what I end up with. So I've got my top stitching here, all the way along, and then just the last few I've got it lowered. This is the back of it. I still have my stitch length, or sorry, still have decorative stitching or contrasting stitching. It's just doesn't quite stand out as much as this one does. I'm looking at it and I'm not super happy with my stitch quality. It seems like my bobbin, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but I can see my bobbin thread coming up between my stitches. This one is really obvious. It's really beautiful. There's a little space in between each stitch. This one, it almost is running together a little bit. So I'm going to play around with my machine and see if I can get that to change a little bit. So I don't know if it will focus well enough for me so that you can see this. These stitches now are exactly what I want. These ones up here, they were kind of almost like it was a straight line. And I'll tell you what I did. Simple. The very first, as soon as you have any tension issues, the first thing you do is rethread your top and your bottom. Perhaps when I was threading my machine, I didn't go through one of the tension discs properly with one of the threads. Maybe something just went wrong there. It's quite obvious to me that had to be what my problem was. But immediately, I've got tension problems. It's not what I want it to be, and it was working fine before. So first, take out the top, rethread it. Automatically, don't bother testing, just rethread your bobbin as well. As soon as I did that, started sewing again, and it's exactly what I want. So always, tension issues, rethread first. Anything beyond that, maybe it's a new needle you need, things like that. But always, the first place, tension, rethread. The first step that we're going to do is going to be for the rectangle ring strap. So that's the little part at the bottom. I'll show you on this. So it's this little piece right here. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to mark a line halfway through. This is 3 inches, so I'm going to go 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to mark a line there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to press it to each other. Even finger pressing will hold this down a bit, but I'm going to take it over to my iron and give it a good press. Again, this is your personal preference. This is the piece. I've got it folded in half. You can do your stitching however you want. Because I'm using my double stitching method, I don't want to take my stitching or take my thread out and have to rethread so many times. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my rectangle ring on here, fold this in half. Now when I do my top stitching, I'm going to go right on the edge. I'm going to go around as close as I can to the ring, down, and then back this other side, and then I'm going to do another row on the inside. What that's going to look like, hopefully you can see this, is like this. Hopefully you can see my top stitching there. So I'll go up close. With my industrial, my foot, I can't get quite close enough, or as close as I would have liked to, but it's fine too. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've actually put my zipper foot on. What it does is it allows me to get really up close when I turn and do this against the ring. So again, I have my double thread so that I'm going to get my nice top stitching. Set it for needle down position so when I can go around the curve. And I'm going to see if I can get one more. Okay. And turn the corner here. Now I'm up quite close to my ring. This might cause me a little bit of a headache here because now the back of my presser foot is going to be against that ring. We'll see what happens here. It's not liking that. I might have missed a couple of stitches there. Let's see how things turned out. Well, it did miss a stitch. It's not going to be noticeable. The only other way I can do it is to go further away from my ring. But my next stitching one, I'm going to do it as well. And I'm just going to switch out. I've moved my needle position as well with my zipper foot over a little bit. So I'm going to move it back to where it should be right there. My regular foot on. This one has a mark right here. That's my 1/4 inch mark. So I'm going to line up this stitching line with that. Oh, and that didn't work at all. Okay. So that didn't sew like I wanted it to. Nothing grabbed at all. So I've got holes there, which that's not a problem. But it didn't stitch. So something isn't working quite right. So I'm going to go back to my sample piece. And it didn't go for the first part, and then it started stitching. Somehow it's not quite grabbing my my bobbin thread. So I'm going to try it again. And I've got some missed stitches. And I'm just going to, oh, okay, I've got, no, maybe I don't. Thought I had some thread problems here, but I don't. But what I am going to do, I think it's my bobbin is what's causing me the grief, so I'm just going to take it out. And I'm going to rethread it. Maybe something jumped in there, I don't know. Oh, sorry, bumping you around here. And that one worked. So now I'm starting to think that maybe I shouldn't be using my cutter, my automatic thread cutter. It was like it couldn't catch the bobbin thread. So I'm just going to leave it a little bit long. And we're back in business. And there we go. I think it looks pretty good. And just for reference, this is the back. It's not that bad either. That thread does show up quite nicely, and especially with having a longer stitch length. So, pretty happy with that. So the next piece that we are working on is the adjustable strap. So this is the really long one. This is the really long piece. Now, if you have directional fabric like mine is, we do a little bit of a fold here to do a finished edge. If you have directional fabric, do it at the bottom of your directional fabric, so that we have the strap with your direction going the right orientation. In this next step, we're going to fold it and then fold it again. We're going to do the double fold strap. So I'm going to start by marking my center. This strap is 6 inches wide. So I'm going to find my 3 inches. And I'm going to just go ahead and do a mark all the way along. There we go. Now that I have that done, I'm going to go and press this, but we're going to press it in toward itself all the way along. You're going to fold each side in, press it, and then once both sides are pressed, we're going to fold it one more time and press it again. I have my adjustable strap done. So again, from just one edge, just the bottom edge, especially if you're doing directional fabric, fold that up 1/2 inch. Then we're going to go inside to the center, and then we're going to press it flat like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my top stitching. I'm going to make it match my other. I don't need to put my zipper foot on again because I don't have anything that I need to get up against. So I'm going to go narrow all the way around to this end, over and back, and then I'm going to come in 1/4 inch again all the way around. So here I have my top stitching done. Again, I used the double thread for the top. It's up to you. I mean, certainly this has a lot of impact, but when I look at the back of it, because I'm using a thread that has a little bit of a sheen to it, more so than just like a regular Gutermann. They're fairly flat or matte. This does have a very nice shine, and it's meant for embroidery to make them look really sharp. So even just the contrasting single thread turns out pretty good. Of course, this is twice as much thread, so it works very well. Some of you might think, instead of doing a double thread, to do a double stitch. So what a double stitch does is, for those that don't know, when your machine is stitching, I'll do it this way, it goes 2 stitches forward, 1 back, 2 stitches forward, 1 back, and it keeps doing that. So it goes over twice, or 3 times, I guess. It goes over a bunch of times, as is the way that it stitches. And it's great, except for you can go around corners, but going around curves, it just really does not work very well. So, yeah, it's totally up to you guys what you do, but I just wanted to show you some options. So our next step is actually to put on some of the hardware. So this is the slide for the adjustable strap. So I'm going to lace this through. And this is going to hold, this little seam right here. This is what's going to hold this in. So you can do one, well, I guess one of 3 things, or 2 of 3 things, whatever you want. You can sew across, and or you can rivet, or you can do both. So I'm going to actually do both. I've switched my thread to just my plain black. So I'm going to do a row of stitching. It won't show so much because it's black, which is what I want for my look. And then I'm going to put a couple of rivets in there because, again, I like the look of that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a row of stitching across here, and then I'll come back and rivet. So the next thing that we're going to do in the assembly of the adjustable strap is to put our ring onto our strap. Actually, I guess just should back up. I'm not going to rivet. You can probably hardly see, but there is a row of stitching across here. That's going to be enough to hold this. I should have actually, if I could have found it, I should have gotten black hardware. That would have been nicer as far as I'm concerned. But there's nothing wrong with the silver. I'll be happy with it too. I don't want as much bling, though. I've just decided that I'm going to keep the silver as low key as possible. And really, I could do black rivets in here, but I also don't want a whole bunch of different colors of hardware. So I'm going to keep it simple. So here I have the raw end of my strap. And again, because I did the double stitching on the top, I need to make sure that I stay directional. So when I put on my rectangle ring, so this little piece right here, I also need to make sure that when I have it all assembled, that I've got my good stitching, everything is on the same side. So I've tested this already, and this is what needs to happen. So I have my raw edge here with my good stitching up top. When I hold this ring, my good stitching is up. So I'm going to slip this on and go like this. So when all of this is together, and okay, so I've got all of this here. I'm going to go down to the other end, and I need to thread this through my adjustable ring. There. Okay, so my slider is here. I've got this little edge is going to get sewn right directly into the bag itself. So if I go all the way down to the end here, I've got everything is my correct orientation. So I've got all of my good top stitching is facing up. So I know that when I assemble this, that I have my stitching the way that I want it. So this is the pattern piece for the top strap tab, lettered F. So we need this piece now, and what we're going to be using is this reference right here. What we need to do is we need to line up. Now this, we need to get the orientation right, because this is going to slide up into here. So we want the top up here facing upward. Now, if we, what we're trying to get is the spacing for the prongs. Now, what I've done is I've used the reference. I've kind of gone sideways here, and you can see that I've lined up that with the little bar here. I'm kind of losing my words here. So that's what I've done. And I still have my marks on here from the first bag I did, because I'm using the exact same hardware. So I have my little purple marks. That's where my tabs, or where my prongs are going to be. So that's what I need to mark on my pattern piece. So I have my top strap tab F pattern piece. Now this is the one that has the fusible fleece on it. So we're going to use that as the top. So we're using that. I'm going to take my pattern piece here. I'm going to put this on so that I'm half, and I want to mark those marks that I did for the prongs. Now I need to center those, so I'm going to make sure that I have it marked all the way across. So again, I'm going to do that. So that's that. We don't have to do anything more with it for the moment. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use the other fabric piece. Now we're going to go again back to the importance of your Peltex. Now I didn't notice it until I watched my video, that even on my Peltex piece I have one side that's just a little bit less rounded. I really like the look of this side, so this is the side I'm going to use. So I have this one marked where I'm going to put the prongs, or where I'm going to cut the holes for the prongs. I'm going to go back to the other one. This is just the other side, and I have marks on here because I did this wrong. I marked the right side instead of the wrong side. So again, this is the curve that I really like. So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to use my purple marker. Part way around there. Flipping this over so I have the same on both sides. And there I go. So now this is going to be my stitching line. And I'm going to go just on the very outside of it all the way around. So we have one more step in here before I can sew though, because this is where the strap gets sewn into. So I have my top piece. This is the strap F that we've been working on. So I have the one with the fleece on it and the prong marks. Then I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to go, I want right side down, so wrong side up. So I'm going to lay this over and I'm going to get it nice and centered just at the top edge, and I'm going to make sure this is really straight this way and also that it's centered this way. And then I'm going to just do a little basting stitch across the top here, just with a really narrow seam allowance so that when we actually do the whole sewing all the way around, that it doesn't get in there. So we have this one basted at the top here. Now we're going to put the other piece over top. Again, I want to make sure that I'm centered to everything. And I'm going to clip this in place, and I am going to take you over and show you how I sew this, because I want you to be really, really careful about going around these corners. Okay, so I'm going to take you with me here on this little trip around this tab. So I do have it, just a couple clips holding everything in place. I'm aiming for just on the outside. And if I have to get around this curve, I will go needle up, needle down. I mean, I'm doing a couple stitches at a time here, but if you try to take that curve, unless you're really good, I mean, if you're comfortable with it, obviously that's awesome. But I prefer to go slower and make sure that I do a really super job, because it shows. And really, in the grand scheme of things, the way that I look at it, it only takes a few extra seconds just to take that extra little bit of time. And I'm going to backstitch. I backstitch at the beginning and I backstitch at the end. So this is what I end up with. And you know what? I'm a little on the outside of my line. I'm okay with that. But even more importantly, my stitching is really nice and smooth. So I have really nice smooth corners. So we'll see how that turns out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clip away my seam allowance everywhere except for the top here. My strap is right in here. I don't want to trim that away. So I'm just going to trim up to both of those all the way around, about 1/8 of an inch away from my seam allowance. So here I have this, I've got everything trimmed. I'm going to turn it inside right side out. Oh, I hate that. So again, I'm going to be careful. There's no reason to start yarding on things unnecessarily. There we go. Oops. Let me get my handy. Again, this is my little pointer turner curve little tool, and it just gets in there, that little curved, I'm just using that little curved edge, and it just really gives me a nice rounded edge. Well, my stitching gave me the rounded edge, but this pulls everything out really nicely. So let's have a look at that. Ooh, I have to even say I'm impressed. So I'm going to give this a press, and then I'm going to do top stitching on it as well. Well, I can press this, but I'm lying. I'm not going to be top stitching it right away. I need to put my Peltex in first. So you probably noticed when I was sewing that I was actually quite a bit outside my line, and I'm gaining more experience with that and figuring out more so how much room I need when using my Peltex as a template, how much more room I need on the outside when you put the seam allowance and everything in. I usually end up trimming a little bit, but this one is actually working out really, really nice. So perhaps I need to stay more outside than what I think I do. So I'm just tucking that Peltex right up into the corner here. And it's really fitting beautifully. It's a little bit long. That's okay, I can deal with that for sure, because all I have to do is trim that off. But boy, that's fitting really nice. And I think I'm up at the top. I don't know if I can look in here. No, I'm not. So I'm just going to work at that a little bit more. What's holding me back is my seam allowances right at the very top. So I'm just having to kind of work at them a little bit and move them out of the way. Let's just see. Well, isn't that amazing? When it sits up where it's supposed to, then my Peltex isn't too long. So now I'm just going to give it a quick press, make sure everything's nice and crisp, and then I'm going to do my top stitching. I am just going to do one row of top stitching. I'm not going to bother doing the both of them. Well, I tell you, ladies, you don't have to be happy for me, because I'm happy enough for all of us. This stitching looks great. I really love it. I will tell you, though, I'm already regretting the whole thing, because there is a lot of thread changes there's a lot of top stitching on this one. So the things, I'll do almost anything for you, ladies. Just know that. I don't know that I'll do this one again. But anyway, yeah, so I've got this all done. It looks great. I'm really happy with it. My marks are a little bit faint on here still, but they're there. So I'm going to mark for my prongs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger in here. Now I'm going to be cutting through my Peltex and the top layer fabric. So there's actually Peltex, fusible fleece, interfacing, and the fabric here. Make sure I've said this before in other videos, make sure that you have really good sharp, things that are supposed to be sharp are sharp. Because if they're dull and you're trying to use them for cutting, they get dangerous. So I'm using my seam ripper. It's the easiest and quickest way. So I know where my mark is. I can see them right here. And I know approximately what and you can have a look too and see how your prongs are. I have a pretty good idea of the size. So I'm going to start, I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to jab it in because my fingers are right underneath it. I'm going to poke it in. I'm holding the back away so I don't catch it. I'm going to put my seam ripper in, and I'm going to now I'm going like this way, and I'm going to be very, very gentle, cut through everything. This seam ripper is extremely sharp, so it makes this job very easy. I don't have to put any pressure hardly at all, and that is actually what makes it safer. If I had to really reef on that, something slips and away it goes, and then, well, someone's bleeding, and it's usually me. So anyway, there we go. Now I can slip my prongs through here. There we go. Now I probably won't really be able to show you too much of this because I have to really get in there, but you can see my prongs are on the inside. I'm going to take my little piece here, gonna slip the slots over those, and now I'm going to have to move away because I can't show you and do this at the same time, but I'm going to bend the tabs over the prongs. I'm going to bend them toward each other and nice and flat against the washer. What I didn't show you, and I should have, I missed a step, had to take this out. I put a little bit of fray stop around each of the holes that the prongs went through. So yeah, just to keep that from ever unraveling. Now, this is an optional thing. It is something that I very much like to do. I don't like the feel of hardware, and I can feel the prongs where they're folded over. I can feel that there. Eventually, it's going to wear, and it'll show on the fabric. So this is why I keep the little chunks of Peltex and stuff like that around, because it works really good for this. So I'm going to put some glue on here. I don't have it on there yet, but I'm just going to put some glue on there and glue it to the back of the prongs. And then, I mean, there's a little bit of, you can kind of feel that there's a little bump there, but it's far better to me to feel that than to actually feel the prong there. So I'm going to take that out. I'm just using some tacky adhesive, just some craft glue. And I'm just going to put it on there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I don't want to get glue on anything else though. So I'm going to careful open this up, tuck that inside there, get it positioned where I want it. And I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to maybe put something with a little bit of pressure on it, and just to hold it there until it dries. And that's that. It's a really minor thing, but to me it makes a big difference in how that piece feels.